Oh, good morning. Oh, God. Yes, I've had probably about 2 hours sleep last night. It was a very, very choppy ferry. Apparently it was Gale Force 8 that we were sailing into. So it's a bit like being on a roller coaster. It feels bitterly cold. It's actually about 7 degrees. There's a really strong wind. And lovely, dark, black, moody clouds. So excuse the state of me. I'm at my first location. I'm going to try for a shot. Sunrise is about 20 minutes, I think. I'm not expecting anything brilliant. I can't get to the place that I wanted to get to for some foreground interest. I think I can make it work. But I'm going to sit in Mads until it gets really, really close to sunrise, because it's too picking cold to sit out there. The water, even in this gloomy weather, looks gorgeous. The tide's fully in. The sea actually looks quite calm considering how damn breezy it is. But it's that gorgeous aqua colour. It's wonderful. And I'm shooting something that I've never shot before. I've never really taken any notice of it in all the years that I was coming here. And I'm amazed that it's actually as close as it is. I thought it was going to be a lot further out. So anyway, I'm going to stop rattling and I'll catch up with you in a minute. Well, I finally braved it and got out of the car. Jeez, the wind's blowing. My first port of call. Excuse the pun. We're at the port of Douglas. The ferry terminal is behind us, and as you can see, absolutely not a cloud or not a sunshine cloud in sight. The subject that I'm shooting is the Tower of Refuge, which I believe was built or suggested to be built around about 1871, I think, and it was. The suggestion was made by the founder of the RNLI, whose name I've instantly forgotten. It's built on a partially submerged, I think it's like a coral rock, reef, that's what I was looking for, reef. And ships kept running aground on it. So the tower serves for two purposes. One, at really high tide, incoming ships can see the tower. And if you are unlucky enough to get shipwrecked, you've got somewhere you can go and take refuge until you get rescued. Oh, I had hoped to be able to get down here, which is a bit of a landing bay for boat tours, I presume, but unfortunately the gates are shut, because I was going to use the platform as a bit of a lead-in line with the water breaking over it. And I can't believe how calm this water is, considering it feels like it's blowing a Gale Force 10. Oh! So, I am at F10. I have a reverse grad on. I have a 6-stop. I'm ISO 100. I've just done a shot at 25 seconds and it wasn't quite long enough. So I'm just going to let it run for about 45-50 seconds. Not all of my images this week are going to be minimal, although there are some locations that I've scouted out where minimal will work perfectly. I'm going to try and get some just normal type seascape shots to show the island at its best, provided the weather plays ball. But I've seen this before and I never realised how close it was. I guess it's because when I've been here, we've always been out on Douglas Front. Look at those clouds, woohoo! And it looks an awful lot further out, but you stood here at the port and it's amazingly close. So it's a good start to the morning. This, as I say, will work lovely for minimal, simply because the weather isn't giving me anything to work with. But that sea, the water, you can see such a beautiful colour. If we had strong sunlight, that water would really be glowing. Oh, and that landing pad would work wonderfully if only I could get to it. I have to go and have a word. So let's have a look, see what we've done there. Oh, yeah, that's more like it. That's possibly just slightly over. That was 100 seconds, but I still haven't blown any of the blinkies. Now I'm on the 17 to 55 and I'm having to shoot at 55 mil. I tried zooming out a little bit and there was just too much space, that the refuge just wasn't standing out as much as I would like. I'm just going to fire another one off. Excuse me. Yeah, if I could have got down low and used some of this as a bit of a lead-in with the waves breaking over it, that would have worked slightly better at a shorter focal distance. Woohoo! Flipping heck! And boy, is it blowy. Right, I'm going to go see if I can protect the camera a little bit from this wind. And then I'm going to go find someone to get my head down after I've had some breakfast. Oh, crikey, Bozes! I forgot to mention, there is something very, very important that we have to do before we do anything else at all. Before I go and find a sleepy spot, or even have a brew. Vitally important thing to do when you come to the island. Mogrimi! Hello to the fairies! So the most important thing to do when you come to the island is come and say hello to the fairies at Fairy Bridge. Or Mogrimi. That's possibly not pronounced correctly, but Manx isn't my strong point. And it's an old Celtic tradition. Apparently it dates back to when Catholicism was banned from the island, and this bridge and Ferry Cottage, I believe, used to collect a toll. It was owned, the land was owned by the churches, and they used to collect a toll from people passing over the boundaries. Now, I'm just being careful because the traffic's horrendous this morning, it's rush hour. When I was last here, back some 6-7 years ago, this tree was smothered in branches, and people wrote notes and tied notes to the branches of the tree, messages for loved ones just to say they were here. It's quite sad. I'm guessing it's to do with the storms, but it's all been stripped of its branches. But if you look, you can still see. Oh, the light's terrible, so no, maybe you won't. Oh yes, little bridge, little sign there. If you don't say hello to the fairies when you drive past, it's supposed to bring you really bad luck. So never take a chance, always come and say hello to the fairies. You don't have to stop, but as you drive past, say hello to the fairies or Mogrimi. Apparently if you're on coach tours, the conductor or the driver will announce that you're about to go over to Fairy Bridge, and if you're on public transport, you'll very often apparently hear people say hello to the fairies. It's just one of those lovely island traditions. I can't tell you how good it feels to be back here. It's it's got to be 7-8 years since I was over here. I used to come over for the TT. Did 6-7 years on the bounce, and this place really does feel like home. It's wonderful. Right, the road is getting very, very narrow, so I'm now definitely going to go find someone to have a cup of tea, some breakfast and a sleep. Now I couldn't bring you to the island without bringing you to possibly one of the most unique places in motorcycle racing history, I guess. This is the grandstand, and during TT season we have a massive grandstand up here, and this is where the guys come in and do their pit stops. And in the background you can see the leaderboard, the scoreboard, which is run, I think it's by the Scouts and the Girl Guides, and it's fascinating. They're all running up and down during the races and they handwrite all the scores on. It's absolutely phenomenal to watch. Now all these units that you see here, whoops, where are we? There we go. All of these have fuel tanks attached to them, and they're all gravity fed. So as the riders come in, and they are limited speed-wise as they come through the pit stops, they pull up, and you can see the markings on the floor for each individual team, and we have numbers as well. The pit crew will clean the visors, change the tyres, and while that's going on, they will fill the tanks, and they unhook the pipes, shove them in the tanks. As soon as they shove them in, the fuel just starts flowing through. So they have rags at the ready to mop up any excess. It's the most phenomenal thing to watch, and I believe it is now unique. It's the only road race where this happens, I believe. They might still maybe do it on some of the Irish road races. And that's the winner's podium. And that's where they all go. There's a huge board up behind them with the sponsors' names on it, and they shower each other with champagne. But you can see just how big the scoreboard is, the leaderboard, all the way along. All the riders' numbers. It's absolutely amazing to watch. And the riders come through the gate at the far end, and as I say, as soon as they hit just about where the gate is, the speed limiters on the bike kicks in, and they are limited on their speed. I'm not sure if it's 15 miles an hour, something like that. That's 15, not 50. It really is the most amazing thing to watch. I have sat in the grandstand on one occasion because I wanted to see it. It's such a unique thing. And we have over there, I'm not sure you're going to make it out because the light's light on, you can see it, the map of the course. And I'm going to do a drive of the course. I couldn't come and not drive around this course. It is a public road, and it blows my mind. I've ridden it so many times on the bike. I've never been around it in a vehicle, in a car. So it's quite a bittersweet, definitely a bittersweet experience being here and not being on the bike. The light is coming through amazing. We had horrendous rain this morning. Unfortunately, when I was here on the bike, I didn't have such things as camera phones, never heard of vlogging, didn't know what a GoPro was, so I have no footage from those days. Well, I've come down to a lovely little location that I've never been to before. I've ridden past the signs for it, but I've never actually called in. And this is Grudel Glen. But it's a lovely little bay. And I don't think we're going to get any sunset, although, I don't know, maybe we will do. We've got some beautiful waves breaking over the rocks in the distance. And it's not quite as windy down here as it is up on the mountain. And it's lovely and peaceful. There's only been a couple of other people down here the entire time I've been here. So I've been down here and I've been playing. It's quite a difficult exposure to make because we've got the white foamy sea froth, then we've got a layer of black rock, and then we've got a layer of lighter rock, and then we've got grass, and then we've got sky. So you've got bright exposure, and dark, right in the flipping middle, which is making my life difficult. So I've upped the ISO, I've dropped the f-stop. I was shooting at, f5.6. I was at 250 ISO. I put the 6 stop on. I might take that off. Might have a play without it. Because what I was wanting was to catch a wave rolling in. But at the same time as a wave rolling in, I wanted the water dragging back across the beach. Because the beach is pebbles, so you get that really nice dragging effect. I think I've got 2 that I really like so far. Composition-wise, again, quite difficult. Because there is no real foreground. There's just an expanse of beach. I haven't got my gloves on again. Numpty. We've got those rocks leading out, look at that wave, into the ocean there. There's nothing really on this side. That's a bit sort of mundane. But that's got a nice rock ledge jutting out. So I've been concentrating on rocks coming in from the left-hand side of the image, waves in front, and catching the waves breaking over it. But it really is just a matter of playing. Because I'm so used to doing long exposures, stick the 10 stop in, or stick the 6 stop in, expose for as long as I can, job sorted. I don't want that here. I want a little bit of texture in the water. I want a little bit of the wave action. But the trade-off is I'm getting blown highlights in the bottom of the image where the water is frothing up. So it's been a case of trying to time it so that the water's gone back just as a wave's coming in and breaking. Ah, I do like to make my life difficult for myself. We've got blue sky coming up. No, you'll not see it around there. But the horizon is just blanket cloud, so I'm not sure. We might get some colour, but I think I'm going to stay here. Sunset is only another 3/4 of an hour, and I'm sure I can entertain myself quite long enough here. But for now, I'm going to play around here, and then I've got some friends to go and see, and then I'm going to find somewhere to go sleep and sort out where I'm going for sunrise tomorrow. I think I know where I'm going. I've just got to find a sleepy spot somewhere near. Right, catch you in a little bit.